Okay, hello. Today I'm joined by Ilka and Jo in Australia from Awakened Parent. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello, Mark. Very well, thank you.
Good.
Very well. Thanks to be here and have this chat.
So you guys got in touch with me about a week ago, and one of you said that you got the protocols of the Elders of Zion when you were young. Which one was that?
That was me.
Was that you? Okay.
Yes.
That's really interesting because I'm chatting. The guy that gave it to me is a comedian called Alan Parks, who's quite famous in Canada. He gave it to me in 1999, and I'm interviewing him in a couple of hours, and I've not seen him.
Wow.
I only met him that one night.
And, wow.
I think it was one of my early interviews. I talked about this Canadian comedian giving me it, and then one of his friends saw that video, shared it with him, didn't put two and two together. He was listening to it, thinking this is interesting, and he was like, "Hang on, that's me." So he just got in touch with me, which is a real Celestine prophecy moment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really excited. Yeah. I'm excited talking to you two, but I'm excited I'm going to be talking to Alan.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
He's had stage 4 cancer for 7 years, and he's been fending it off with cannabis oil. So there's loads.
Wow.
So anyway, your dad gave it to you when you were a kid.
Yes. Very young, about 12. Yeah. Wow. So I kind of learned that the world is not what it seems.
So
from a fairly young age.
So
and he had a whole lot of other stuff as well. I'm 49. Yeah. So that was that's a while ago, isn't it?
Well, it's almost a 200-year-old document. So
yes.
It's interesting how it's survived. I mean, I remember after, the internet had just started when I got it, and then years later when I look back, it was like, oh, this is.
I know, it was a book. It was a book.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've had like nearly 40 years understanding how the world works, or did you dismiss it as a kid? Did you listen to that?
No. Oh no, you couldn't dismiss it in my family. No. Wow. It was my father was very interested in all of that stuff. Yeah, he would talk to anyone who would listen about it.
Well, that's what I've been like for the last 30 years.
Yes, that's why I heard you and I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting day.
Yeah.
So So what about you, Jo?
Oh, no, I've only come to be aware of all of this sort of stuff in the last few years, thanks to some very passionate conversations with Ilka when I didn't want to believe lots of the stuff she was sharing with me in the beginning, but then did my own research and, we're pretty much on the same page now.
Amazing. I just want to point out that it might be a bit noisy here today because I've got some work being done, and this is why I've been a little bit late getting on. Anybody watching this, it's very important. Today, I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning with stuff saying the internet's gone down, and I was like, oh, interesting. And it has been popping off and going slow here and disappearing in places. Somebody just emailed me said they couldn't watch one of my videos. So
yes, I have heard that too.
It might happen midway through this, who knows? But so it's been a very, very busy morning for me. About what is it? About 10 o'clock there in Australia?
9, almost 9 o'clock.
Whereabouts are you exactly? You're not in the same place, are you? Obviously.
Pretty well. Yeah, we're in the Sunshine Coast and Queensland.
Okay, both of you live there, yeah?
Yeah.
So what's the story then? I mean, I want to get into more about your 40 years of being a conspiracy theorist.
Well, it's really led me to, well, that's true. But it's really led me to the work I do now, because I suppose when you go down the rabbit hole far enough, what you work out is that it's all about, the only person you can change is you. And so you have to, I've spent a lot of time, thinking about how the world works when I was young, but now I just know that it's the work that I kind of got led to probably through all my thought processes was anything that was about changing your mindset and how you've been programmed basically. So we're programmed, and I was very aware that we're being programmed. So the guy that teaches me faster EFT, he, you know, knows that, and this is just through your own family as well when you come into the world. But then, of course, we're being programmed by the media, by everything, basically. And so he always says, if you want to pick a fantasy, pick a good one. Because you'll get, people ask me, do I do hypnosis? And the thing is, we know everything is hypnosis. And I started to understand this from a very young age. So when I came across Robert G. Smith and Faster EFT, which is what I mostly use to help women change programming from childhood and that, and we call it programming, but it's really just shifting emotional stuff and changing their perceptions and their experiences so that they can, you know, be calmer and more relaxed and more at peace with who they are. Because truly we're divine beings of light. That's what I truly believe. And we just forgot.
Well,
so, we got programmed to believe otherwise. One or the other.
Kind of removed, surgically removed.
Yes. That's it.
So, you know, 10 Days of Darkness possibly happening soon. Big wake-up call, emergency broadcast system. I mean, we've been hearing about that all year. Do you believe that's going to be happening soon?
I haven't felt intuitively that would happen here in Australia myself.
Well, I think it's going to be a global thing.
It's been bits and pieces on and off. But yeah, we might get a few disturbances, but I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
I'll be happy no matter what happens. So
exciting times. So, Jo, how long have you been together with the program?
It's been about 3 years now. Yeah, Ilka and I have been working together for about 3.5 years. So it was around that time when we started doing this work together. We started off actually just thought we could make some funny videos together because we both have similar sense of humor. So Ilka rang me out of the blue one day and said, hey, you know, I think we're pretty funny. Let's make some videos together. So that's where it all started.
That's what I said.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah. But I'm the funny one.
Well, you know, I'll be the judge of that. Oh no, sorry.
I'm the extrovert. You're the introvert.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm the extrovert. You're right.
So it's funny actually because Al Pasoni rang me this morning and said she'd had a dream that she was supposed to do a comedy sketch with me.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to do comedy sketches.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Didn't you do some comedy?
I was a stand-up for 7 years ago, and I wrote some comedy. And I found the stuff that I wanted to write just wasn't flying with the people that controlled TV and all of that. So I was never really that interested in, you know, my whole life has all been about, right, I'll try this. That was good. I'll try this. That was good. That was good. And everything I've done has prepared me for this time.
Yeah.
I was writing poetry 30 years ago. I got married. I didn't write any poems for about 15 years, and then suddenly they all started coming out. And it's
I've loved your poetry. It's been awesome. Yeah.
It's not me. It's not me. It's coming through me.
I love it. Yeah. Well, it's fantastic.
Which is this was a real privilege. Thank you for that. So, but comedy is really, really important. And did you see JCK's live yesterday?
Yes.
She was
there. I don't know if I've got all the way through it yet.
Well, you
love her so much.
Talks about removing the deep states dildo from your ass. I mean, that she got on it. She says she was on the natural quinine plus coffee plus Red Bull. She was as high as a kite. And
we need to remember that trio.
I tell you, it's dangerous. But I've been getting talking about the.
I just love how I've loved watching all of her videos. Yeah.
So what are we here to talk about today then? We're going to talk about EFT and Awakened Parent, or we're going to talk, just go where the flow takes us?
What do you think, Joe? What should we talk about?
Oh, yeah, where it takes us. But yeah, we'd love to talk a little bit.
Cash on the phone.
Yeah.
We can wait.
A little bit about what we do. We basically, Ilka's covered some of it, but it's more or less showing parents that every time their kids trigger the crap out of them, it's an opportunity to go inside and heal a layer of their own inner child wounding. That's it.
So the twist there is that the children are our teachers.
Yes.
Which has certainly been my experience over the last 16 years.
Yes.
Exactly.
Sometimes you don't like it, but it's.
Oh yeah.
People don't like it.
That's one of our favourite lines. Children are our greatest teachers, if we choose to listen.
Yeah, I agree, because they've not been tainted by the bullshit in the world, so they're pure.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So this has led you to helping other parents, is that right?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
Our own struggles and our own challenges. And, you know, me coming to the work that I do now, which is, you know, it's a tapping process to kind of help to bring the body back to feeling calm. Yeah, let it go. I've
got a friend who did this to me in Morocco, and
yes.
And it was so funny because I was really stressed. It was about 5 years ago, and she'd come over and she'd go like this, and I'd go, "Get off! What are you doing?" I was like, "No, I don't need to relax. I'm fine."
Yeah. So we have that sometimes as well.
Yeah.
It's funny. Sometimes, you know, you get shown something, and if you're not quite ready for it, you just know. It was a bit like that with me and ayahuasca. I was like booked onto it about 4 or 5 times, and then for some reason I just didn't go.
Yeah, I've never done that. Have you done that, Joe?
No.
I've never done those ones.
Well, you go when they're ready. So you started off with the comedy sketches because you've been mates for a long time, I assume.
No, not really.
No, 3.5, 4 years.
We've met through a business networking group, like a ladies' business networking group. Yeah.
I've always tried to get into those, but they never let me in for some reason. I think it's the beard. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Could use that one. That was good.
That'd be good place to
Our
put them in, right?
Our one of our videos, our video that got the most hits on YouTube is how to stop Ilka talking, where we gaffer taped her one day down the beach and got some men to help us with a skit. And for some reason, Ilka being gaffer taped has gotten a huge amount of views.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Should we have a look at it? Is it online? What's the address?
It's okay. We don't need to look at that one. I just have fun going to the supermarket and buying the gaffer tape and the ties and looking at myself going, I wonder what the woman thinks I'm like.
So you don't want me to do it?
No, it's okay.
Sure.
That's okay.
Don't worry about it. I put some shocking videos up on YouTube over the last 15 years. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, I'm proud of myself because in the past, before I did all this tapping and all this inner work and like letting go of all of my stuff, I would have been too embarrassed to make a video like that. So these days I can just laugh at the fact that, you know, I love a chat. I love a chat. So I'm here having a chat.
It's extremely liberating, and it's interesting you bring that up because I've been making videos on YouTube since 2005. Right, YouTube was brand new, and I was a different person because I did put comedy stuff up, but when it came to business, I was very, you know. If anybody wants a really good laugh, just go to YouTube and type in top skips skip hire, and you'll find a fat version of me advertising my skip hire business from 2007, I think it was 2006. Really funny.
I'm reading your book, online marketing book. Probably. I'm reading it. Probably.
Well,
And I've I've been going to look at that. I've been going to look at that skit. That's funny that you mentioned that, because I've seen the photos in the book, and but I haven't clicked through on links or looked for that video. Yeah.
Well, the book's 3 years old, so some of the links might not work. But are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I am. I enjoyed the intro, like reading about how you came to be involved in the skips with your partner's father being in the business. I found that to be the fun part. Just like, oh yeah, you can do marketing, can't you? Come on over.
Yeah, come and do my skips.
Yeah.
It took 12 years out of my life, that sentence.
Oh wow.
You wouldn't believe the stuff that happened. One day I'll write it down. It was crazy. But I learned internet marketing, and that's kept me fed for the last 20 years. So, you know, and when I wrote that book, I tried to write it in a way that anybody could understand it. So, yeah, good.
Yeah. That's good. We might be able to understand it then, Jo.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going okay so far.
I always get told.
I give those jobs to Jo.
Yeah. So how does it work then with Awakened Parent? Is this how long you been doing it? Since the videos? Is that how it started?
Yeah, 3.5 years.
So
yeah, well, probably really focused on the Awakened Parent. What, for the last two years? Yeah. So now we've got a Facebook community. It's still a small, growing community of mums, but we're like quite what would you say?
Organic.
Honest about being in our group. Like being in our group, we say you have to be very courageous. You have to be really like ready to be very self-responsible. So no pointing the finger at, you know, this person did this to me, and or my kid, or particularly my child is doing this to me. None of that stuff. So we make that very clear.
Do people really say that?
Yes, yeah. Well, not so much. We just make that clear that if you're coming into our group, not that most of the people in our group are really, they're really focused on being conscious parents. Like they know it's them. They want to be, you know, shifting their stuff, and they're not doing that. But we just make that very clear that when you're in our group, it's about being honest with yourself, being courageous, you know, doing your own work, like letting your own shit go.
Well, listen, I've got a flashback there, right? When I was a little kid in the 70s, my mum and dad had bought this kind of encyclopedia set on how to bring up your kids, how to be a great parent.
Wow, really?
Well, it was really. I don't know if it was Dr. Spock or somebody like that.
Okay, yeah.
Well, yeah. I found out years later there was a lot of stuff in there that was a bit iffy, but I'll tell you some stories. So obviously, because they had me when they were very young. My mum was 17 and my dad was 19 when they had me. Yeah. And it was kind of a shotgun wedding. You know, I was at the wedding.
Were you the first one? You were, yeah, of course.
I was a love child.
Yeah.
You were the love child. I was unstoppable. There were people trying to make her have abortions and stuff. I was like, no, I'm still coming.
Wow, you were coming.
Yeah, I was coming. There was no stopping me. But so I remember seeing these, but I used to flick through them, right? And I remember my dad had obviously read one of these manuals, and one day he just said to me after dinner, he said, Mark, just come upstairs for a minute. And I was like, okay, Dad, what's happening? So I followed him up the stairs, and he goes into the bedroom, and he just takes all his clothes off, and he stood there in his socks, and he's going, this is a penis, and what happens with this is this goes inside the woman, and then that's how you get made. And I was like this. Okay, Dad. And he must have I think he got that from the manual.
Oh.
Because I had a similar moment with my eldest son, but it was on the deck of the ship. We were outside in the wind, and I was going, yeah, basically, it's the penis goes in the, got it? It was like that. What the fuck's going on?
My husband did that, but I think he did it about the chooks or something to start with. Because we were on a farm. And I don't think
it's all around you now, isn't it? You can't. Yeah. I've always believed. I mean, you know, unfortunately, me and my wife are separated, and so we're bringing up the kids kind of between us, but separately, which is a really interesting dynamic. And you know, she's a great mum. My take is, I don't believe in punishment. I believe in discussion. I tell them every day I love them, and be question everything, including this. Rules are going to be broken, and I've kind of created
like that one.
Well, you know, I've created little rebels, which I'm really proud. Well, one of them's not quite there. He's on the train tracks, but and also one of my boys is a big daydreamer. He's always getting into trouble for it, and I'm always like, you just keep daydreaming.
Yeah.
He's like, he always gets in trouble. And I'm like, it's good that you're in trouble because the teachers have no idea. If they were daydreamers, they wouldn't be fucking teachers.
Well, do you know what I always say? Because I think I told you I unschooled my children, which means they never went to school, and they pretty well did, you know, school that they wanted to do. So they made their own choices to what they did each day. And I've lost my train of thought. What were you talking about?
You just reminded me of I watched. I think the kids were at school in Manchester in a primary school. And I've told the story before, but one came home one day and said, "We've just been taught the food pyramid, and the food pyramid says that bread is healthier than broccoli." I was like, right, I'm going to see the headmistress, and they'd also been made to sit in a separate room with their organic lunch, which was seeds, nuts, fruits, organic boiled eggs, because they had an egg, right? Because somebody in the school was slightly allergic to eggs. So I sat down with the mistress and I was like, blah, 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 blah. And she was like a robot. She talked to me like she was a robot. And I was getting really frustrated with her. And then within 7 or 8 months of that, we were living in Marrakesh and there were no schools. So we started our own schools. We started one and then started another one. One of those schools has now got, I think, 150 kids in it. And although it wasn't unschooling, it was a far more free thing, and we got tutors in as well, because homeschooling, as you know, is a lot of hard work, especially if you're running a business and stuff, and you've got 5 kids. So I learned a huge amount through that. But the one thing I remember is I did read the book Unschooling, and I was very inspired by Ken Robinson, who
he's amazing.
He did that talk on Do Schools Kill Creativity, and he tells this story about the ballerina.
Yes.
The teachers was telling the parent, she can't sit still, she's a pain in the ass, she's unteachable. And then somebody said, I think she's a dancer, and then she became the greatest ballerina in the world. And
choreographer of Cats.
And having 5 kids myself, it's fairly obvious when you look at the school system how they're just trying to squeeze everybody into one mold, and that just isn't the way the human race works.
No, it doesn't.
So did you see my video on the quantum education system?
I don't think I saw that one.
You saw that one?
Did you see it, Joe?
Yeah, but I'd love to talk a little about it because I'm a bit lost on it.
Well, I think the future of education, once we've got through all this COVID bullshit and Trump's back in and the world starts functioning properly, and you know, if we ascend into 5D and all of that, the whole quantum system is going to run everything. I mean, this voter fraud that they're doing at the moment is it's a quantum watermark, so it's irrefutable. And it's also about, you know, and the quantum financial system is about your intent, and the system knows if you actually own that money. So it's the end of corruption, it's the end of theft, it's the end of everything. And it's a technology that most people can't contemplate. So I thought, well, if you take that same quantum concept into education on a global scale, and you had complete freedom of movement and free market, the thing with blockchain technology is it's an irrefutable ledger record. So if a teacher's talking shit, the system will know and they will be downgraded and nobody will use them anymore. So it's kind of like, in my mind, it's a
like Airbnb and those systems are a little bit similar.
Well, it's kind of a self-correcting system. So it's about your intent, but it will also understand the child's needs and wants and blah, blah, blah. And then you get this really fluid movement, and then you've got a beautiful system.
Amazing.
That's what I see in my head.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe I've drank too
Well,
much.
there's just so many things that we don't know are available to us that are going to become available. And it's like your wildest imagination.
I know.
Lots of things.
I'm having dreams of what it's like, and they're like, I don't want it to end because it's so. Then I wake up to, you know, and it's like, okay, I'm not there yet, but it's coming. So I'm interested in if you're marketing something like the Awakened Parent, then it's quite easy to find that at the initial crowd, right? Because the initial crowd would be conscious parents already that want to come. Oh, this is good. This is interesting. They come to learn. But then beyond that, how do you what's your pitch? Is it kids that are troubled, or are you having trouble with your kids? Come in and have a look at what we do, and then that kind of helps wake them up. But it's actually it's not called the Awakened Child. It's called the Awakened Parent, right? So it's waking up the
Totally.
Yeah.
Good pickup. That is a very good point. Yes, it is definitely the Awakened Parent. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, because many parents have come to us and asked Ilka to work with their children.
Yes.
And she won't do that. No, that's not what we're on about. And so many times as they get to know more about what we do, and then they get to understand, oh, I get it now why you don't work with the children, because it's about us as individuals, and the children are showing us what we need to work on. So they're giving us all these wonderful opportunities for healing. So how they come to us, or our ideal client, is really the parents who've read loads of books, done a bit of work on themselves, but not seeing the real changes. So logically, they've done lots of work, but they haven't got to the deep emotional stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. So it must be really fulfilling work.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And I work with just beautiful, beautiful mums that are so courageous to, you know, because they turn up and they kind of have to talk about their triggers. And look, it's not that they're getting everything perfect. That's the thing that people might want to hear too. Like, if you're a conscious parent, you're still, you know, in fact, sometimes in the initial stages of reading a lot of that material, you can feel worse. I mean, that's what happened to me. I'm reading about Rudolf Steiner. I'm reading, like, with the education system, with so many things. I was just reading so much stuff, and attachment parenting, and that was around, you know, back then. So reading things, and logically understanding them, but not really knowing. But still have the behaviors that I grew up with. When things aren't going my way, I don't know how to control a situation, so I'm getting angry, and because I'm reading all those books and logically understanding them, now I'm beating up on myself even more, because I want to do better, but I don't have a tool that I can really use to shift it. I mean, meditation is great, but if you've got little kids, it's very hard to do. So the tapping is like a meditation that you can do while you're just standing with your kids, you know, or as you're walking around the house, or when you're on the toilet, and it's very quick. So it works really well with the parents.
Let's have a bit.
So like this. So let it go, let it go. So if you're feeling like really angry, you can tap between the eyes, side of the eye, under the eye, collarbone, and then you take a big deep breath.
Woo, it works.
Right away.
Wow.
And we grab our wrist and we say peace, because we think of somewhere really happy inside your mind.
I haven't got anywhere really happy inside my mind. What happens?
Make
you
it up.
You could go to your dreams. So the other thing that we like show our mums is that they are going into trances from the past. Like, we call it a trance. So they've gone into their angry trance, and we get them to start going, oh, yay me, I just did my angry trance again. You know, look how good I am at this. Like, to kind of give it a different perception, instead of going, I'm such a bad person and I'm not good enough. And, you know, it's like, it's changing that perception of yourself. And then, using your tapping process and going, oh, that trance, spending a couple of minutes just to do this and let the trance go. whether it's angry, whether it's sad, and the more you do that, especially in the heat of the moment, if you get triggered by your children, the more you will notice changes, because heat of the moment's like bringing up everything all at once. And your children are so good at that.
That reminds me, I remember my mum, if I annoyed her when I was a kid, what she would do is just go 1, 2, 3. And
she was ahead of her time.
Count to 10.
She was amazing.
We still
That's
argue.
amazing.
You know, we still argued a lot.
That is amazing.
But
Go, Mum.
Me and my mum triggered each other loads when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's what they're for.
Yeah,
That's what
we
you're
all
for.
do.
There's something I've picked up on. As you've described this, it's called the awakened parent, but actually it should be called the awakened mother, because you've only mentioned mummies.
Oh, there are fathers in our group. Yes, there are. Yeah, they're less, but we do have men in our group as well. But most of the women that are doing mum.
If you ever need somebody to talk to the men about childbirth from a man's point of view, I'm your man.
Oh, nice. We will take you up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just an amazing journey for me. I learned all about birth.
What did you think?
What did I think?
Yeah. What do you think of birth?
Well,
I'd love to hear a man's perspective, actually.
Yeah.
Well, the short version is, and this is all down to my to the mother of the children, right? So, first birth was an emergency cesarean. She then felt, and I'm pretty sure she won't mind me sharing this information, but she then felt raped by that experience and wanted to have a vaginal birth.
Yeah, many women do.
Right. Yeah. So, and she was looking back on it. I can see how that was. And I mean, I didn't really understand it, to be honest. At the time, I was a bit of an idiot, but I did my best. But how can a man understand it? Right? So,
yes.
I was there at the emergency cesarean, and they gave Joe to me, and he spent his first 3 hours with me. But it really should have been on her breast. But she'd been cut open, and it was horrific. So then it was a VBAC, a vaginal birth after cesarean, for anybody who doesn't know what that is. And they were really, really trying to stop her have this. Like, the pressure on her was huge, but she pushed through it. She pushed through it, and then started, looking into homeopathy and all sorts of things like that. It really, really helped her. And that was a 26-hour labor. And literally the doctor kept coming in, right? She, like a scalpel in her hand, going, when can I cut her? Fortunately, the midwife was on my side, and I kept telling her, get out. And this is when I rose into my kind of lion status, I think, by this point. The third birth was a home water birth, which was just sublime. It was so gentle and beautiful. It was beyond belief. And she went, instead of it 26 hours, it was 20 minutes. It was just incredible.
Wow.
And that was beautiful. I mean, I put a loaf, I made a loaf of bread. I put it in the oven. The baby was out before the bread was.
Wow. Oh my God, that's like storybook stuff.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then this journey progressed, where her knowledge progressed, and I was witnessing it and learning as a man in a different way. But I took the role of protector very, very seriously, and that's what I became, especially in the last birth, which was the first all-natural twin birth in Britain in about 40 years. But
wow.
It wasn't just natural, it was orgasmic.
Yes.
So I on, she even interviewed Michel Odance, this French guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
Who wrote the book on orgasmic birth. And basically, one of the things I'd love to do, and basically the secondary function of the orgasm is to take away the pain of birth. And that's what I witnessed with my twins. It was extraordinary. It was so beautiful. But again, 20 people kept trying to come into the room. It was going to be a home birth, but it was a conscious decision because of the twins and because of the chance of one of the cords wrapping to be in the hospital. But my God, I mean, apparently the midwife that was there that day retired soon after, and does talks about this guy who was really rude to her, which was me, because she said I turned on I mean, there's loads of bits to this story. I won't tell them all, but I turned on the water, the tap so that my wife could meditate and be in a lagoon. That was part of the process. Midwife comes in and says, "Miss Stratford, come here," takes me outside. And she stands in the corridor right in my face going, "The doctor told you you can't do that. This is the same doctor who told us the babies were gonna die if she didn't have injections the day before, which had stopped the contractions."
I had things like that.
And
Yeah.
I didn't hear him. If I'd heard him, I'd have twatted him. But yeah, she told me this to my face, like nobody's ever questioned her in 40 years. And I looked her in the eye and I said, "How are you going to stop me?"
Good question.
And
Great
she
question.
popped off. But then all these student doctors were coming in, and Kate my wife said, "Can you get rid of them?" And I just went, "All of you out." Nobody's ever said that to them. And what I learned is that so few women are standing in their power. They abrogate all their power. And the other thing I learned through a woman called Janice Barcelo. Have you heard of her?
No.
You need to look her up.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Janice Barcelo. She did a Skype call with us, and she explained that the entire birthing system in the last 100+ years is a satanic system, and it's been designed that way. Like the baby's not allowed to touch the ground. They wrap it in aluminium or something before there's loads of little.
Yes, I have heard about that stuff. Yeah.
It's a satanic ritual, right?
Well, it's the beginning of Admiralty law. So,
And that's the other thing. Yeah. So if you start piecing,
have to be birthed, you see.
So you start piecing all that together, what chance have parents got? Because they have no idea that this is being done to them. Because they're trained by the school system and the whole system to just pass over all responsibility to these idiots in white coats.
Yeah, but they think that you know.
So you can see I'm a little bit passionate about this stuff.
I love it.
One of the things I'd really like to do is build a network of natural birthing centres. And in my mind, around the world, in my mind, they're all like big, but built out of mud. And it's all low lighting, and it's massage, and it's meditation, it's tapping, and it's organic gardens, and all eating the right food. And yes, there'll be a medical unit there, but the medical unit should only be there in case there's an emergency.
Yeah.
Because every birth should be orgasmic. What would that do to the planet?
Amazing.
It'd be unbelievable.
Yes, this is our natural state of being.
Because most of this healing stuff that exists is because we're all so fucked up. And the reason we're so fucked up is it's designed that way.
Totally. Yes, totally. Yes.
I've talked too much.
And because we don't believe in our own bodies, we don't believe in the people with their degrees and whatnot.
Yeah, I was saying this to my son last night. So the more educated they are, the worse they are. And that is, you know, it's the more indoctrinated they are. And I was brainwashed. Yeah. You know,
yes. Well, you were in the military, weren't you, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was.
Yes.
Yeah. 30 years ago.
For how long?
You want to see a picture of me in the military?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I've got one over here. Hang on. Prepare to swoon.
How do you swoon?
Oh.
That's how we do it.
Hey, see, I told you to swoon.
You could swoon, wasn't it?
Gosh, how old are you there?
19.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Those are the days.
As my great auntie Phyllis used to say, you can't put an old head on young shoulders. And my God, I'd love to go back into that body with what I've got here now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, my father used to always say that. Only I could go back and put my head on those shoulders.
Well, hopefully the med beds are here, right? And we can. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
What age would you like? 27, please. Thank you.
Yeah, late 20s is good.
Take me back, Scotty.
Perfect. Just before the liver starts failing.
Yeah, that would be so good.
So good. Have you guys written a book?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's on the way.
We've written a lot of content, a lot of blog posts, a lot of video.
You know I'm a publisher, don't you?
Ah, cool. So we knew we had to meet you for some reason.
Just saying. Just saying.
Okay.
We've
Yeah,
been talking about it for about a year, about our book, and we're probably nearly ready to actually do it.
Well, if you want, I could tell you now in 5 minutes how to write a book really quickly.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, do you want to know?
Yeah.
One of you got to write this down.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm on it. I got it.
So I wrote my book in 3 days.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? And the way that you do this method is based upon building in reverse engineering how books work so that you do the editing before you've written it. Okay. So most books are about 18 chapters with about 20 subheaders in each chapter. So first thing you do is you write down 20 chapter titles. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Then you score each chapter out of 100, each title, and then you put them in order of importance because all the best stuff should be at the front of the book.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Right? And then you write 20 subheaders for each chapter. Points, point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you score those out of 100, and then you put them in order.
Oh, that's all. Yeah, that's so good.
And then you delete the bottom 2. See what I mean? So you're doing the editing before you've written it. Then you can either speed type or you can dictate. But basically, you take each subheader and you give yourself 20 minutes on a timer to speed write or just talk about that for 20 minutes. If you talk about it for 20 minutes, then you've got 20 times 18 times 18, which is 180 to 360, 7,200 minutes, I suppose. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Or 720. I can't. My mental maths while I'm on the microphone is not so good. But
Lots.
and then you get that if you speak it, you get it transcribed, and then it's done. I spoke my book. I took a PA, a friend of mine who worked for me, and I just spoke. I drove down to the coast, spoke. I spoke for hours and hours and hours. She typed it all up. It was all in that format. It was done.
Yeah.
And then,
Which book is this?
The one that you're reading.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've got a hard copy here. There's a hard copy.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
You know, and then,
That's great. That's great information. Yeah.
And then, you know.
We're good to go now, Joe.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. It's really, really easy.
Book out.
There's no reason why anybody shouldn't have a book out, you know, because we've all got great, and this would be a really important book, and I'd be wholeheartedly behind it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I'll promote it, and I know other people that would promote it to lots and lots of people as well, because it's so, the work that you're doing, I don't need to see the work because I can feel you, is so important, because as Jackson said, the children of the future, and we are in the middle of allowing child abuse on such a massive scale with the masks and the schools and everything else. It's causing all sorts of mental traumas.
I know. I was just on a call where the granddaughter has to wear a mask playing sport.
What the fuck where these teachers, I swear, I said to somebody in an interview this week, I think, the suicide rate of teachers and doctors and nurses when all this is over, when they realize what they've been doing, is going to be through the roof.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. And I don't know how they can do it. I don't know how they can do it.
Yeah, it's next level brainwashing. Other key titles that my father had me reading from quite a young age.
Right, we've got to swap reading lists.
Oh, that works.
Is your dad still with us?
No, he died in 2014.
So we missed all this.
Well, I don't think he missed it, Mark. I think he died at a certain time in his life because he was on a mission to make sure a lot of stuff happened at this time in history.
Wow.
Is my belief anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my belief.
Everybody's time
He's helping.
Oh, he's here. I got that. Wow. Yes. Oh, wow. I was going to say.
We'd love to have a chat with you.
He's already here.
He's helping. Yes, he's here.
What's his
As
name?
I think many people that maybe left the planet around that time.
What's his name?
Gavin.
Gavin.
Yes. Yeah. Gavin Rowe.
Thank you for your work.
Yes.
It's really important.
He was definitely ahead of his time. Yeah.
He did a great job on you. And because of him, the ripple effect through time is wonderful. It's like the guy that I'm going to interview this afternoon. It's like we all of those moments in our lives make sense in retrospect.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, it's incredible.
And that's what it is, isn't it? To take those gifts, to get out of the blame game and see the gifts.
Yeah. I was watching some of the videos that have been coming out recently, and I was telling my mum about one of them. I can't remember which one it was now, but I just burst into tears. I was just like, oh my goodness, finally, people are starting to get it. It's like,
I know. I mean,
yay!
What a year. You know, I go on my phone and
what a year.
There's people talking about satanic pedophiles and clones, and I'm like, fuck me. You know, I would the abuse I got for putting stuff like that up 10 years ago was unreal.
Oh yeah, you couldn't.
Unreal.
You can imagine back when just yeah.
I'm still getting it. I got a message off.
You're a crazy person.
I got a message off a work colleague yesterday, and he was like, it was really nice. It was like, yeah, you're completely fucking nuts, but I still love you. Yeah. Okay, that's called a double-edged sword.
Yes, I've been very fortunate to have many people say that about me over the years.
But it's a
you're
shit
completely
sandwich,
fucking nuts, but I still love you.
It's a shit sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. You know, it's good to know that I'm not the only one.
Yes.
And it's also good to know that Australia isn't completely in the shit, because I mean,
there's a lot of amazing people in Australia. There is.
I know.
Yeah.
All over the world, and
yeah,
we're holding the light, and that's the beautiful thing about this, and that's becoming more and more apparent to me as every day goes by. And
yeah.
And it's a real privilege, and it's the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. It is.
Jesus, I took a risk putting that poem out there, because most of my left wing mates see me now with pictures of Donald Trump, and I'm like, hey, he's not really right wing. You can't, you just can't, you can't explain it, can you?
No, and I just say I support the light. I support unity. I support the divine. I support. That's what I'm about. So if people don't understand that, well, it's like, do some more research, maybe.
It's funny, because when I see Donald Trump speak, I see God speaking through him, and that's become more and more and more apparent over time. Because at the beginning, I was like everybody else, like, who's this playboy millionaire? What the fuck's he going to do? But my God, what an incredible reveal over time it has been.
And Laurie Ladd, she put out a beautiful video about how, I think she was talking to somebody on the video about how she was the same, like she just couldn't see it. And then she said she took away the face, she took away anything anyone had ever said about him, like on the media, because of course it's just as we know, a machine to program everyone, and felt into the actual soul, and also the astrological stuff as well that Laura Eisenhower talks about. It's pretty amazing, as his chart. And so it's taking away again the programming and looking at it from a different perspective. That is important.
So during the process of doing the Awakened Parents, have any of the parents come to you knowing that obviously I want you to sort out my child, and then you do the flipperoo on them, and then you take them through the process, then the transformation must be amazing. Have they also woken up? So do you talk about this other stuff?
No, I don't. I don't talk about this at all. I think I've learned to kind of not talk about this over the years. Again, that's why it's amazing to be sort of, I mean, this is really coming out of the closet, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Because it's that stuff that led me to where I am today. So I really have that the reason I'm so open-minded, and the reason that I, have gone down so many, like had so many different thought processes about how things could be, is because I was shown such a different perspective of the world from such a young age. And that is really what my process is all about, working with people. It's like opening them up to the fact there is infinite possibilities, absolute infinite possibilities. And as soon as you put a label on anything, I heard someone say the other day that if you go to a child and there's a bird in the park or whatever, and you say to that child, there's a bird, and you call it a bird, that child will never know that bird from now on, because you just labeled it.
Well, you just put it into a box, and once it's in a box,
yes, that's it. Yes. So when people come to me, I'm very, like, I've got a very good understanding that they can be infinite, and they tell me their programs, and it's like, that's interesting. Interesting perspective you have about yourself there. And the process that I use is all about helping them see that it's all just untruth. Nothing is true except the present moment.
Oh, that brings me on to Eckhart Tolle.
Yes. Okay. Oh, what are you going to tell me? Okay.
Nothing. I'm not going to say anything. I'm saying nothing.
Oh, good.
I'll keep my trap shut.
Okay.
I just remember listening to, I played it in the car. So it was really hard to drive and listening to somebody go, "The power of now." I was just falling asleep. I had to listen to it about 5 times to get it into my head. And I was like, I'm not sure about this guy. Because one thing that I've seen over the years is that the use of gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Right? So gatekeepers throughout history and also now in our modern times. Gatekeepers to me are people like Charles Darwin, Einstein. Modern versions of that are, there's a guy in England that presents all the sciencey stuff. He's a complete arsehole, head of science at Manchester University. Brian, can't remember his name, dickhead. And I saw somebody's name pop up yesterday, I think it was, and it's the guy who wrote the God Delusion, Richard Dawkins.
Oh yeah.
Not the gatekeeper.
I haven't read it, but I know.
So you've got all these intellectual gatekeepers and spiritual gatekeepers, and that's how they've locked us in. They've had these. They make them into people that are really important that we should listen to, and excuse me. And they lock us in, and they tell us that they are the thought leaders and they're correct, but they're not. They're not.
No.
And spiritually, the biggest villain spiritually, who's the biggest villain spiritually in the last 20 years?
Oh, that's a good question. Got any ideas, Joe?
Who's placed herself on a pedestal globally as the leader?
Oh, Oprah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oprah bad. She a bad lady. She's going down like Chinatown.
Yeah, it's sad though, isn't it? Because she's probably helped a lot of people too. But
well, that's the question.
Yeah.
That's going to come out the wash. I mean, even Louise Hay's story, which I was greatly inspired by. When she wrote "You Can Heal Yourself," and then she went on Oprah, and then suddenly, boom, she had a massive business, and she didn't know what to do. There's a lot of great stuff in Louise Hay's work, but then you got to question. It's like The Secret. You know The Secret?
Yes.
That was an Australian, wasn't it? Rhonda.
Yeah, Rhonda.
Yeah.
burn,
Yeah.
burn,
This is the
birch,
secret.
burn.
I dished that. I bought loads of copies, dished it out to all the people that work for me. Said, watch this, blah blah blah. I've talked about this before, so I won't go on about it. But there's always a missing piece, and it's a bit like the Bible and the Council of Nicaea taking books out. It's a bit like Think and Grow, the last chapter out. It's like they show you enough that you buy into it, but then remove the bits that are the real secrets. You know, so we've always had that.
Yes.
That element, which is why everybody goes around shouting at the kids because they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
because our truth isn't really, it's inside of us. That's where the truth is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So if people want to connect with you too, I'll put send me a link. I'll put it in the description. Anybody watching this who's not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you already are a subscriber, thank you. Make sure that you sign up to the email list below, because are you guys on my email list?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. You get the emails, okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are occasionally sort of interesting stuff as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you haven't got time to do a video, so you just send out, I'll send out links and things that are interesting. It's quite, I enjoy it a lot actually. So the email thing is actually taking up a lot of my time at the moment because I'm sending out loads of PDFs all day, but it's great. It's great. The feedback's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm running out of time, but it's been really amazing to meet you both. And I'm sorry, I know I talked a lot. I know I talked a lot in this one, but you got me fired up because these subjects are very.
Okay, we can do it again.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, my advice is get a book, get an online version of what you do, because that's how you.
Oh, we do. We have an online version.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll put a link into that then. So it's very, very important work that you're doing, and I'm personally grateful that you're out there doing it.
Yes,
in fact, I mean, if we stay in the financial system for the next 10 years, you should definitely franchise it.
Yeah. We're just very grateful for the mums that come and do our calls, who are changing themselves.
They're real heroes, because I know
they are heroes. They are. Yes.
It's a lot of courage to admit that there might be something wrong.
Yes, and it's not the kid. Yes.
It's never the kid. Right.
Yeah. Huge. It's huge. And often they're the kind of, I suppose the term would be black sheep, like they're the one in their community, or they're the person who does the research. They're the person who, is, that person. So we thank those people.
Yeah, don't really fit into their families.
Yes. Gone down a different track.
It's definitely new. Well, I did get a message from a cousin of mine the other day. Well, it was about a month ago. He said, "Are you my cousin?" I was like, "Yeah, I think we are, yeah." And he was like, "Fucking amazing," because he's like the only... he's totally awake, right? And I was like, "Wow, there's another one. There's another Atwood that knows what's going on."
Yeah,
that's my brother just befriended me on Facebook. He just, I don't understand a word you're saying. I'm like, well, what can you do?
Well, my family understand the words you're saying because we got brought up with it. So.
Yeah, we should put them all on.
Yes.
Bring them on. We talk about this.
My dad would have loved to talk to you. Absolutely. He would. I often think now, watching all the videos that are coming up, what a great time he would be having watching them all.
Well, that's the way I feel. Seeing the things that I'm seeing people talk about it's just magnificent. Even though they're getting closed down, I know they're going to open up again.
Yes, totally.
It's going to be.
So,
look, both of you. I'm out of time. It's been wonderful speaking to you both. Thanks for getting in touch. And
thank you.
I'll just end the recording. I'll say goodbye to you properly after I've ended it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Say goodbye, Ilka.
Bye.